Good morning, beautiful people. It is your girl. It is Nia Ali, and I just finished my morning walk. I just finished about 4 miles or so, and so I have this bench, and I just decided to just kind of sit and to just take it all in. As you all know, I'm on this healing journey where I have decided to address some of the traumas that has taken place in my life. I have never really, I don't think, specifically shared which traumas I've experienced. I've just kind of used it in a general sense of the word traumas and emotional, social, psychological, physical, verbal, all of those types of abuses. But I've never really been really specific just because my nature. And so today, I noticed when I woke up today that I actually was in like a little funk. I was a little emotional and I didn't understand why. But I know that sometimes when I wake up like that, which isn't often, but if I do, I'm just really intentional about, addressing it, because I'm not going to be robbed of my day. I'm not going to be robbed of my joy just because of some emotion. So usually what I end up doing is going out to exercise, because when I exercise, I exercise not only my mind, my spirit, and my body. And your body begins to release these endorphins that actually helps me to feel better. And so I really enjoy it. And so today while I'm exercising, I'm like thinking, just in deep, heavy thought, listening to motivational podcasts, and just in really deep, heavy thought. And then I realized in my thought process that I get it. I remember. I know why I feel the way that I feel. Now, this is a trigger maybe for some people because it involves death. But I remember that today, 20 years ago, I was the victim, or my family was the victim of gang violence. This was during a time when I was married and my husband had previously had a son, but it was my stepson. But by my own nature, there's no such thing as step. Your child is my child. That's just how I embrace people in life. And so I remember we were out watching fireworks because it was the 4th of July. Every 4th of July, their family, or every other 4th of July, their family has a family reunion. And we were in a new city, just enjoying the fireworks. And while we were out, a car pulled up. And again, I'm in a new territory. I have no idea. And we became the victims of gang violence. And all I remember is an array of gunshots just ringing out, just ringing. And my thought was, I had my son in my arms. And my thought was to get us on the ground, to protect us. And so I remember rolling us off the trunk of the car onto the ground underneath the car and staying there until the gunfire stopped. And after it stopped, I waited till they got back in their vehicles and sped off before I moved. And once I felt like it was safe, I rolled us out from underneath the car and I began to get up. And as I began to get up, I noticed that he wasn't moving with me. And when I looked at him, I saw blood trickling out of his nose, and I lost it. I hollered and screamed like I have never hollered and screamed before. I prayed like I had never prayed before. I have cried like I had never cried before. And then I went into this realm of complete silence, which was eerie but powerful under the circumstances. And I just remember the longest time it appeared like before any help arrived. And the EMT staff, once the police cleared the scene, moved me from him because they needed to work. And then they quickly whisked him away, and they also whisked me away in another ambulance in the front seat so that I could be there when he arrived and so he wouldn't be alone. And as I was riding in the ambulance, I remember my face, my hands was in my face, and I was just crying, I was praying, I was rehearsing the events that just happened because it didn't appear real. And I remember I looked up and I saw this street, and the street name was Victory. And I thought, how peculiar is this to see the word victory in a time such as this? Shortly thereafter, we arrived at the hospital, and the nurse staff grabbed me. They're talking to me. They're asking me 100,000 questions about him. And I have blood all over me. And we all thought it was my son's blood. But it was fresh blood because it was still dripping. Needless to say, it was my own blood. I too have been wounded. And so once they realized I too had been shot, and I was just going completely off adrenaline and the need of a parent to be present, they then shortly whisked me off into the back to begin to see and to assess my own injuries. About 30 minutes later, a doctor came to me and grabbed my hand and shared with me that they had done all that they could do, but unfortunately, my son didn't make it. He was 5. Today marks 20 years. And I realized that I had been carrying around this burden for 20 years of guilt, shame, defeat. And it's not my burden to carry. Sorry. And so I decided to intentionally forgive myself, to be mindful and intentional of forgiving me. Because, as parents, we're supposed to protect our children. No harm, hurt, or danger should come near them while we're on duty. But I realized that if it was in my power, if it was within my power, I've already done everything that I could do. That some things are just beyond my control. And in some things, I'm an observer of life. And so, in going through this journey of healing the traumas, no one shares with you. We all want the healing portion of it, but behind the scenes, we don't realize the work that's involved with getting to this process. And this work is sometimes painful because you have to revisit traumas. You have to revisit things that has caused you sometimes great pain. But also in that addressing of the pain, you are released. You're released to be set free. Some things are not your fault. They just happened to you or for you. And 20 years later, you'll see the sign victory. So, as I take this journey of healing, cleansing, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and can you cleanse intellectually? I'm sure that you can. That I walk in love and forgiveness towards me. I forgive myself. I no longer internalize and I no longer carry that burden. Because I have the victory.